The pilot died mid-flight. The plane crashed into a frozen mountain. No one knew they were missing, and what these two strangers did to survive will shock you. The film opens with Alex Martin, a journalist who is just days away from getting married. She needs to get to New York, but her plans fall apart when her flight is suddenly canceled, leaving her anxious and overwhelmed. At the same airport, Dr. Ben Bass is facing a crisis of his own. He urgently needs to reach New York to perform a life-saving surgery. If he doesn't make it in time, his patient could die. With all flights grounded due to severe weather, tension fills the terminal. Both Alex and Ben are stuck and running out of options. Noticing Ben's frustration, Alex approaches him with an idea. "We're in the same situation," she says, "and I might have a solution." Thanks to her connections as a journalist, she knows a private pilot. She suggests they charter a small plane to Dundee. From there, she can catch a commercial flight to New York, and Ben can continue on to his destination. It's a huge risk. The storm is strong enough to cancel every commercial flight, but desperate times call for bold decisions. The pilot agrees to take them for $800. Alex invites Ben to split the cost, knowing he can afford it, and that traveling together will make the risky journey a little easier. Their journey begins with an uneasy feeling. The private pilot even brings his dog along for the flight, trying to keep things light despite the dangerous weather. But there's an even bigger problem. Alex and Ben soon realize the pilot never filed a flight plan. No one, not even air traffic control, knows they're in the air. If something goes wrong, no one will be looking for them, and something does go wrong. Halfway through the flight, the pilot suddenly starts sweating and struggling to breathe. As a doctor, Ben immediately recognizes the signs: a massive heart attack. Before Ben can do anything to save him, the pilot collapses and dies. With no one at the controls, the plane plummets. It crashes violently into a remote snow-covered wilderness. The impact tears the aircraft apart. Miraculously, Alex and Ben survive, but they're badly injured. The pilot is dead. Ben, shaken but determined, buries the pilot in the snow. Then he returns to Alex's side and tends to her wounds as best he can. She's weak and unconscious. Hours pass. Ben stays awake, waiting in the freezing silence. When Alex finally opens her eyes, Ben delivers the devastating truth. She's been out for nearly a full day. Her wedding is over. Instead of walking down the aisle, she's stranded in the middle of nowhere. And the worst part? Because the flight was never registered. No one knows they ever left. No one knows they crashed. No one is coming to rescue them. They have almost nothing to survive on. The clothes on their backs are all they have to keep warm. Their food supply amounts to a few dried fruits and some stale crackers pulled from the wreckage. They shelter inside the broken plane, trying to stay out of the brutal cold, wondering how long they can last. That same day, hope suddenly roars overhead. They hear the distant sound of an aircraft engine. Both of them light up with relief. Ben grabs the flare gun and rushes outside. He fires it into the sky, the bright red streak cutting through the white wilderness. But it's too late. The plane is already far ahead, disappearing into the clouds. The flare fades, so does their hope. They wait 3 more days, clinging to the belief that someone will come, but no one does. Frustration turns into anger. Alex refuses to sit there and die. She insists they have to move, to search for help. Ben stops her. Her leg is badly injured. "It's not safe," he tells her firmly. "If you try to walk, you could make it worse." As Alex's determination grows stronger, Ben gives in. "Stay here," he says. "I'll climb that ridge and see what's on the other side. If there's any sign of a town, we'll figure out our next move." Before he leaves, Alex hands him her camera. "Use the lens," she says. "You'll be able to see farther." Then quietly, she adds, "If you ever get the chance to save yourself, take it. Don't worry about me. You're here because of me." Ben looks at her, steady and sincere. "If I wanted to leave you," he says, "I would have done it days ago." He turns and begins the grueling climb up the mountain. When he finally reaches the top, his heart sinks. As far as the eye can see, nothing but endless snow-covered mountains. No roads, no smoke, no signs of life, just isolation in every direction. As Ben begins making his way back down the mountain, disaster strikes. His foot slips on the ice. In seconds, he's sliding uncontrollably down the steep slope, picking up speed as he hurtles toward a massive ravine below. One wrong move and it's over. At the last possible moment, his boot slams against a jagged rock. The impact stops him just inches from the edge. Breathing hard, hands shaking, he slowly regains control and carefully climbs back to safer ground. But danger isn't just on the mountain. Back at the wreckage, the pilot's dog suddenly starts barking low and aggressive. Alex freezes. Something is out there. She looks through the cracked window and sees it. A cougar. The massive predator circles the broken plane, its eyes locked on her. With her injured leg, there's no way she can run. The dog lunges first, bravely trying to defend her. The cougar strikes, clawing and biting, injuring the dog in the struggle. Then the cougar turns its attention to Alex and climbs into the wreckage. Alex's heart pounds, but she doesn't panic. She grabs the flare gun. As the cougar lunges, she fires. The blazing flares ignite the animal's fur, and after a violent struggle, it collapses. Silence. Up on the mountain, Ben hears the distant shots echoing through the snow-covered valley. His stomach drops. Something is terribly wrong. He runs back as fast as he can, terrified of what he might find. When he reaches the plane, he sees blood everywhere. His heart nearly stops. But inside, Alex is alive, shaken, but unharmed. The blood belongs to the cougar. Relief floods over him. He quickly tends to the dog, carefully stitching the deep bite wound on its neck. Using the first aid supplies and what little equipment they have, they prepare the cougar's meat. For the first time since the crash, they eat a real meal. It's not comfort, it's survival. Later, as they sit inside the wreckage, Alex looks at her phone again. No signal, she says quietly. Then she looks at Ben. Maybe if you climb higher ground, yours might work. Ben immediately shakes his head. I'm not doing that again. I almost died up there. Someone will find us eventually. Alex doesn't agree. If that were going to happen, she says firmly, it would have happened by now. The tension between them finally erupts. Fear turns into frustration. Ben, exhausted and angry, lies down and says bitterly, I'm in this mess because of you. The words cut deeper than he realizes. The next morning, Ben wakes up to silence. Alex is gone. All that's left is a note. I'm taking the dog, it reads. If I find help, I'll send someone back for you. Ben's heart races. He knows she can't get far with her injured leg. Grabbing his gear, he heads out after her. He finds her not too far from the crash site, struggling through the snow. When she sees him, emotion floods her face. She didn't expect him to follow. Without saying much, they fall into step together. Something shifts between them. The anger fades. In its place, a quiet understanding begins to grow. They walk for hours through the brutal cold. Alex grows weaker with every step, eventually leaning almost entirely on Ben for support. As night falls, they find a small cave and decide to take shelter inside. They count what little they have left, barely enough food for 3 days. They both understand the truth. If they don't find help or more supplies within that time, their chances drop to almost nothing. The temperature plunges, and the cold becomes just as deadly as anything else they've faced. They manage to light a fire inside the cave, but the flames are weak against the brutal cold. It isn't enough to keep the freezing air out. To survive the night, they sit close together, sharing what little body heat they have. By morning, they're exhausted, but alive. They push forward again. Gradually, the endless snow begins to thin. The white landscape gives way to trees, and soon they step into a forested valley, quiet, almost beautiful. Alex lifts her camera and starts taking pictures, almost instinctively. Through her lens, she spots something in the distance, a tower. It looks man-made. Hope surges between them. They head toward it, moving carefully through the trees. As they walk, Alex begins asking Ben personal questions about his life, his marriage, what went wrong. Ben stays quiet, avoiding her gaze. Some wounds are harder to talk about than others. After hours of walking, their hope crashes again. The path suddenly ends at the edge of a massive ravine. One step further, and it's certain death. Alex's shoulders slump. Do you still think we're gonna survive? She asks softly. Ben looks at the drop, then back at her. We might die, he admits. But as long as we're still breathing, we fight. We don't quit. They turn back, searching for another route. Night falls before they find anything useful. With no better option, they settle beneath a large tree, huddling together against the freezing wind. When morning comes, reality hits harder than ever. Their food is gone. Every last bite. They're still alive, but barely. Then Alex notices something else. The dog is missing. Worried, she asks Ben to look for it. He hesitates. Every ounce of energy matters now, but he nods and heads into into the woods. As he searches, something unexpected appears through the trees. A cottage, small, isolated, but real. His heart pounds. It's the same structure Alex had seen through her camera lens, and for the first time since the crash, rescue feels possible. But before he can go back for Alex, the ground beneath her begins to crack. A deep, echoing sound rumbles under her feet. She looks down and realizes the horrifying truth. She's standing on a frozen lake, and the ice is breaking. "Ben!" she screams. He spins around just as the ice shatters beneath her. In seconds, she plunges into the freezing black water. The cold hits her like a shock to the heart. She thrashes, gasping, trying to grab onto the slippery edge as the icy water pulls her down. Ben runs toward her without hesitation. Reaching the hole in the ice, he drops to his stomach and stretches out his arm. "Grab me!" With the last of her strength, she does. He pulls, straining, slipping, nearly falling in himself, but somehow drags her out. She's barely conscious. Ben lifts her into his arms and rushes to the cottage. Inside, he works quickly. He strips off her soaked clothes and wraps her in whatever dry fabric he can find. He builds a fire, feeding it desperately until flames roar to life. But Alex is in bad shape. Her lips are pale. Her breathing is shallow. Ben knows the signs: severe hypothermia, dehydration. If she doesn't stabilize, she could slip into a coma and never wake up. He searches the cottage frantically for anything useful. In an old cabinet, he finds a medical kit. Inside is a needle setup similar to an IV. It's old, possibly contaminated. The chemicals inside could be expired. Using it could save her or kill her, but doing nothing will definitely kill her. He makes a choice. Ben melts ice for clean water, boils it, and carefully sterilizes the needle as best he can. With steady hands, he slowly begins rehydrating her, monitoring every breath, every reaction. All night, he stays by her side. Alex is lucky. She has a doctor who refuses to give up on her. When morning light filters through the window, she stirs. Her eyes slowly open. Ben exhales, overwhelmed with relief. She's alive, and for the first time since the crash, survival doesn't feel impossible. They remain at the cottage for several days, allowing their bodies to recover. It's warmer there, protected from the brutal wind, and they finally have steady access to food and water. For the first time since the crash, survival doesn't feel like a ticking clock. In that quiet space, something deeper begins to grow between them. Alex starts developing feelings for Ben. She wants to understand him, the man behind the strength and silence. One day, while he's outside, she finds his voice recorder and listens. She hears a woman's voice, gentle, loving. It's his late wife. When Ben returns and realizes what she's done, anger flashes across his face. That recorder is personal, sacred. But Alex explains softly that she wasn't trying to invade his privacy. She just wanted to know him better. After a long silence, Ben finally opens up. His wife died 2 years ago from a brain tumor. He couldn't save her. For a doctor, that kind of loss cuts even deeper. His voice breaks as he talks about her. Alex listens. No judgment, no pressure, just quiet support. They stay until Alex regains enough strength to travel again. But as they prepare to leave, she tells Ben something unexpected. "You should go alone," she says. "If one of us makes it out, that's enough." Ben tries. He actually starts walking away, but after a few steps, he stops. He can't do it. He turns around and goes back to her. They move forward together. Alex is still weak, leaning heavily on Ben as they struggle through the snow. Eventually, her body gives out completely. She collapses. Without hesitation, Ben lifts her onto a fallen log and drags her across the frozen ground, step by exhausting step. They push themselves beyond their limits. Finally, both of them collapse from pure exhaustion. As they drift into sleep, the dog nudges Ben, trying to wake him. Disoriented and weak, Ben stumbles and slips down a snowy slope. He tumbles uncontrollably. This time, it could have killed him. But when he finally stops, he looks up and freezes. Below him, in the distance, he sees something incredible. Buildings, a settlement, civilization. His heart pounds with hope. He scrambles back to Alex, helping her toward what looks like salvation. They're so close. They can almost feel rescue within reach. Then suddenly snap. A bear trap slams shut around Ben's leg. The bear trap snaps shut with brutal force. Metal teeth sink deep into Ben's foot. He screams in agony, collapsing into the snow. "Go," he gasps to Alex through clenched teeth. Get help! Alex refuses at first. She won't leave him, but Ben knows the truth. If she doesn't move now, the cold or wild animals will finish what the trap started. Tears in her eyes, she promises she'll come back. Every step is torture. She limps forward, pushing herself beyond her limits. The settlement looks close, but feels impossibly far. Finally, she reaches a road. In the distance, she sees headlights, a truck. She tries to wave, but her body gives out. She collapses into the snow just as the vehicle approaches. Back on the mountain, Ben loses consciousness too. Darkness, then hospital lights, then slowly opens his eyes. The steady beep of machines surrounds him. Clean sheets, warm air. They made it. They were rescued. Their courage kept them alive long enough to be found. As soon as he's able, Ben goes to see Alex. She's awake, safe, alive. They share a quiet, emotional smile, no words needed. Then Ben notices someone else in the room. Alex's fiancé, Mark. The man thanks Ben sincerely for saving her life. After that, everything changes. Their paths separate. Ben returns to his life, carrying memories he can't shake. He thinks about calling her, but stops himself. He assumes she went through with the wedding. He doesn't want to interfere in her marriage. Alex, on the other hand, struggles too. She keeps her distance at first, until one day, Ben receives a message. Photos. The pictures Alex took at the cottage. Snow-covered trees. Firelight. Survival. Moments only the two of them shared. He stares at them for a long time. Then he agrees to meet her. When they finally sit across from each other, there's tension and unfinished emotion. "Why didn't you call?" Alex asks. Ben looks down. "I didn't want to disturb your married life." She gently shakes her head. "I never got married." She admits she cared about Mark, but after everything they went through, she couldn't ignore what she felt for Ben. Relief floods his face. The connection they tried to bury was still there, stronger than ever. This time, neither of them walks away. They choose each other, and the story ends not with survival, but with love.